Hey, it's Seto Kaiba, and you're watching Anime Egotists. I don't know why. These guys don't know how to duel, unless they learned from Yugi, who cheats, or maybe Joey, who's a dog. Oh, why don't you have some more jelly donuts, like Brock, and maybe you'll get better. Not. Oh, and I play my Blue Eyes White Dragon and kick your butts.
And welcome back to the Anime Egotists, where, to be perfectly honest, a lot of the new series of Yu-Gi-Oh!, their interpretation of Duel Academy worries me.
I completely agree.
Yeah. Anyways, my name's Alex, and I want to give more Yu-Gi-Oh! Series a chance, but it's not going great.
Yeah, I'm constantly hearing that they seem to start good or end good, but you can't get both. And unfortunately, that's really disappointing.
That's correct.
And I'm Richard.
Yes, and welcome back to the podcast. Now, we love Yu-Gi-Oh! And one of the things we notice is that a lot of characters have these things, like these spirits from their cards, dual spirits. It's kind of interesting to see.
Yeah, we've seen it pretty much since the original series. Every character almost seems to have a connection with one specific monster. Yugi, of course, originally had the Dark Magician. Kaiba was the Blue Eyes. It became more of a forefront when we reached the GX series, when we had Jaden with Winged Karibo and Chaz with the Ojama trio.
Or like the other 500 monsters that live in the storm with him.
Well, they all had to move in somewhere after they were taken out of that cave when Jaden rescued them.
Yeah, but overall, we always found that interesting. Me in particular, especially since there's a video game where you actually have a set of dual spirits with you, and depending on which one you have equipped, it gives you certain benefits. But listing our favorite dual spirits from the show it wouldn't have made a whole lot of sense, because it doesn't feel like there are that many.
I mean, pretty much it's everybody's ace monster except for Jaden, who had Winged Karibo. Unless Winged Karibo was Jaden's ace monster, in which case I'm a little confused on that series.
Yeah, which is why we decided to say, what would our dual spirits be if we were stuck in this universe for whatever reason? What monsters would have the fortune or misfortune of being stuck with us?
Exactly. I think we've also kind of decided that this is going to be... It's both a list like we normally do, but it's going to end with this is the one that we think would be our dual spirit, and we'll give more details on the last one for that reason.
That is correct. Heck, I'd like to think I have a little bit for each of these, because I'd like to think that I would never have one specific dual spirit. I'd like to think that I'd be like Chaz in the sense of they just keep following me and don't leave me alone.
I can understand that. I've kind of got one or two that are that way myself that I think will be kind of interesting.
Alright. And I don't have a ton of backstory for all of them, but just small little stuff. But do you mind if I start us off?
Go right ahead.
Alright. The first dual spirit that I think I'd love to have, Angel 01 or Angel 1.
Okay.
Okay, this card apparently is heavily used in the manga by Pegasus's son, apparently. I still don't... yeah, the manga gets crazy. But there's something about this card that, in my opinion, it looks super innocent, but it's still used by Pegasus' son, who apparently is a villain in the show. I don't know, just design-wise, I always thought it was really cool. It looked almost sort of goofy in some aspects, but I don't know, there was something about this card that I just feel like if I was stuck with it, I feel like it looks kind of cutesy, but I do think there's a little bit of malice to it. And so, I don't know, something like Angel 01 or Angel 1, I don't even know how it's technically pronounced, but I don't know, there's something about it that I feel like it could come in handy, especially since it helps you special summon level 7 monsters.
Okay. I actually didn't recognize this card. I thought it was the at first it was that angel card that has it's the angel with the syringe, but so I don't know enough about this card to really know what it does or how it was used, but it sounds interesting, and it does look kind of. It's got that cute look, but it's kind of creepy looking as well. It's really a weird thing with that.
Yeah. Did you ever see like the 2010 or 2011 Muppets movie?
Is that the one where the oh god, what's his name? Siegel is in it?
Yeah, that one.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, so I don't remember the name of this specifically, but it reminds me of that evil blue Muppet that was like a bird or something. But then in the end, it's revealed, oh, I'm not even really evil. I don't know why people keep saying that. I don't know. It gives off that vibe to me. I don't know. It's a weird explanation, but you can kind of see it once I explain it.
Exactly. I do see that now that you say it. It's as you're exactly right. It's cute, but it's also got kind of this threatening. The face is what throws you off. The rest of the card is very cute, and then the face looks like, oh, I don't know what you actually are.
Yeah. Side note, I don't really care how effective some of these cards are. Sometimes it's just a matter of I like these cards, so I'm going to use them. And Angel One would be stuck with me for a good while.
Okay, I can understand that. It does look kind of cool, and I would enjoy. I don't know if I would enjoy that one being a dual spirit, but it would be interesting.
Yeah, but that's my first one.
All right. So my first one is um this is I've got two sets of kind of trio monsters that are so this is kind of one of my two that are like Chaz where I've got a group of them.
Yeah,
This
that's
one
fine.
is I always struggle to pronounce this one. It's Geargino. Geargino. Uh it's a set of three monsters that are literally gears together. I've said before a lot of the time one of the decks I constantly am creating are machine decks. I've had used like three or four different versions. These three monsters, there's of course there's the original, then there's Mark One or there's Mark Two and Mark Three. They're the main reason is I've created a deck that's based on this monster before using the different special effects of the uh different monsters that are similar to it, and I really enjoyed using it. I
Okay,
used them mostly.
I'm
Mhm.
sorry. I don't mean to cut you off, but when you say gear get, are these the monsters that basically look like a bunch of gears stuck together, kind of
Yes.
cartoonishly?
Yes.
Okay, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they but specifically the like three base models, and then they've got all these side effect monsters. So it's what they kind of I mean they're similar in kind of appearance to like the Roid monsters that the one guy uses in GX, but
Cyrus.
Cyrus, okay. But they have again special effects when when you're using their different monsters. So I just thought they were kind of a cool monster to use, and they would kind of fit the perfectly because they always seem to be that right size to be the dual spirit anyway that
Yeah.
you always see.
Plus, since they're like similar to gears, it could kind of imply that if they're gears, they kind of can combine with anything. So, like, if you had a whole group of monsters, in a weird way of describing it, the gear monsters could be like the glue of it, holding everybody together, so we don't
Hmm.
like kill each other.
Yeah, I could kind of see that. They're again, I always found them strangely cute and just kind of weird, and I could see them being that way, kind of almost the Ojama in personality.
Yeah, I could see that. I've played this with them a couple of times. They're pretty fun to use for the most part. But yeah, I can definitely side with that.
Yeah. They were never overpowered as well, which was kind of interesting. I thought that they would sure have something that, like the fur for hire that were always annoying. It's like I want to find a way of using them like that, and just
We
to
don't
piss it.
we really don't have to talk about those ever again. Just ever, ever.
Yeah. So your next one?
All right, my next one, Hyper Psychic Blaster.
Okay.
Okay, this is a synchro monster that honestly, it kind of just looks like a giant robot. If honestly, it doesn't even look that much like a Megazord. It looks more like a one-off Power Rangers car that turns into like a mini Megazord or something like that. I don't know. There was something about this card that was always super cool to me, especially since it has the effect of if it's I think it's if it destroys a monster or if it inflicts damage, you gain life points to it. Which in some cases you might think, isn't that kind of villainous, stealing the life force from your enemies? I'm like, not really, no. No, I don't know. There was something like almost kind of calming about it, like almost like it would use its powers to help people in that sort of regard. So not necessarily cutesy or fun or anything. It's just there's something about that super. It has a calming presence about it.
Okay, I can understand that. It's I looked it up. I vaguely remember this is one of the ones you can get in Duel Links, if I'm not mistaken, and you could have gotten it like really early.
I believe so. Yes.
Okay, I think this was one of the secret monsters I actually used because when I did was still playing that on a regular basis because it was one that I got and it was relatively easier to summon than I was uh able to. So I kind of like this card.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah. Plus, in one of the video games, you actually end up getting basically kidnapped, and the deck they make you use is that deck. But at the same time, I always kind of thought to myself, no, I don't care if they tried kidnapping me. These cards are cool. I'm taking them with me. I don't. But it's like those cards were for evil. No, doesn't matter. No, they're we're gonna be heroes now. We're gonna save the day and all that nonsense.
yeah, it's like, well, don't judge a book by its cover. I'm now using these cards.
Yeah. Plus, it has an upgraded mode called Assault Mode, and it's even stronger at that point.
Okay, I can see it. It does look kind of cool. I like it. It's pointing like it's two blasters at this out of the card, so it looks really cool in its position.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's it. So far, this is going a lot better than I expected, but I'm sure that's going to come back to bite us at some point.
Possibly. So my next one. All right. So one of the decks that I've created that isn't a monster deck is I've had multiple different warrior style decks. And I thought at first I was going to do one of the noble knights, but none of them seemed unique enough for to be by itself as my uh one. So I went with more generic warrior deck, and I selected the obnoxious Celtic Guardian as mine.
Ah, yeah, just based on the name. I feel like non Yu Gi Oh players will be like, oh god, that card.
Yeah, I know, but it's just I was thinking maybe like the original, but the obnoxious Celtic Guardian. It just seems like that one would have the better personality for a dual spirit. It just shows up, talks really obnoxiously about whatever's going on, and then disappears.
I know you played a little bit of Shadows of War, but I feel like it really reminds me of of the Agonizer orc, the one who's just like oh, I'm going to have your head and on a pike, or which I think might be a spear. I don't know. They might be the same thing. I'm going to have your head on a pike. Just very comedic, and people don't take him
Mhm.
that seriously.
Exactly. Like if we were to get together and it's like everybody could see each other's dual spirits, he shows up late to the meeting or whatever, just like, yeah, I'm just gonna swing my sword.
Yeah, sorry I'm late. Turns out the door was a push, not a pull.
That sort of thing. It would be a comedic thing, really annoying, but in the end, he'd probably be very helpful.
Yeah, at the same time though, I'd be like, dude, you can fly through doors. Forgot it. Never mind.
Yeah. So, but that was just kind of the reason. Again, I liked my one of my warrior decks, and I used the obnoxious Celtic Guardian in one of them at one point. So
Yeah, I can definitely understand that. So my next one,
go right ahead.
this is one of the few monsters that actually was a spirit in the game I was talking about. Adhesive Explosive.
Okay.
This card, in all honesty, is not really a card that I feel like I would have used very often. Because its main effect is when your opponent attacks it gets flipped face up and attaches itself to your opponent's card. But then the very next turn it explodes and takes your monster with it.
Okay. I vaguely remember this card from the original series as well, or something similar to it.
I know there was another one that's like it explodes, but it takes your opponent's monster and some life points with it, but it takes like an extra turn or something like that. But I don't know. There's something about this card that's inherently like you can't exactly read this card. Like you can't necessarily tell whether it's happy, sad, or anything like that. But I don't know. Oh, one of the effects it had in the game was you actually were able to make friends with people more often, a lot easier than without it. So I guess to me, it kind of symbolizes even if you can't read people per se, there's some like sometimes people just have an ability to just make friends with anybody. Plus, it's a very selfless card. It will blow itself up just to help you out, basically.
Yeah, it seems like that. I mean, that's actually very similar to a lot of the Karibo cards, because a lot of them are you sacrifice the Karibo to negate life point damage, to save another monster, to do this, to do that, to end the opponent's turn. So it seems very similar in that kind of regards, which and the Karibos were very common to be people's spirit dual spirits for that. So
Yeah. I also do have a feeling though I'd have to tell like it would regularly be like, okay, so boom, so I can blow up now. Like, no, no, stop. Kaboom, no, stop. And then finally, kaboom, I'm like, yeah, kaboom. And then it would just go off.
I could see it also like just randomly starting to count down, and you have to and you realize like at 5 that it's been counting down for like the last minute.
It's just like, what? I just like counting down. I'm like, that's not funny. That's not funny. Like I said, it's a simple card, but there's a sense of loyalty to it that I think is
Mhm.
kind of understated. I feel like it's definitely the type of monster that would keep calling you boss over and over, even if just like you don't
Mhm.
have to keep calling me boss. It's okay.
Like, okay, boss.
Like you know what? You've earned it.
I could also see it like you offering, just call me Alex. Okay, boss.
Sure, why not? But you know what? You've blown yourself up enough times. It's okay. I'll allow it.
No, but I can understand that. It is, and as I said, it does remind me very much of Karibo's kind of thing.
Yeah. And other people could be like, wait, why don't you just use Blast Sphere instead? It deals damage. And it would get very upset. It's just like, I know, but like, just use me, please. I'm like, I'm not getting rid of you.
It all it wants is its existence to end, but yet for some reason, every time it blows up, it comes back.
Yeah. But then it's like, but I just want to leave. I'm like, but I appreciate you. And he's like, thanks, boss. I'm like, yeah, boss, sure. But Adhesive Explosive, it's a loyal card. I always loved it in the games. It definitely helped.
All right. All right. I would co-sign onto that one. I kind of like the idea of that one as well. All right, my next one.
Go for it.
All right. Um, this one's one I've never actually used, but upon looking at the card, I really actually really liked it, and that was Aloof Lupine. I've used beast decks before, never one that had like a focus on a specific type of monster, but I just like the idea of K9 and using one like this would be kind of an interesting idea.
It almost seems like it has kind of almost a little mohawk on the top of its head.
Yeah. Yeah, as I said, there's not really any reason. This one was one I found while I was trying to make this video, and I was like, that would be my dual spirit. If I had a beast deck, he would be there and just staring off most of the time. He wouldn't talk to me most of the time, I imagine. That's the aloof part.
I just assume he'd basically just be like Kakashi. He'd just like, oh hey, you need me? No, that's all right.
Exactly. He's just kind of he's there, he shows up, and he I'd almost have him like he acts aloof, but he's really always there when I need him.
Yeah, yeah, I can definitely understand that. I have a card very similar to that, but it's in my honorable mentions. But like I said, it's the dog fan of you and I. We both love dogs, so
Exactly. And I found, as I said, I really found this card kind of cool looking, and I was like, okay, this would be a card that would be awesome to have as a dual spirit, I think.
yeah. And it does seem like when it's destroyed, it does find a way of helping your
Hmm.
deck out. Like you can bring back some of your cards that have been removed from play. So
Hmm.
even using it just in your deck, it wouldn't be the worst idea in the world.
Exactly. All right. Your next one?
Okay, my next one. Honestly, I've kind of said before to some people that this would probably be my ace card. That this would probably be the ace of my deck, like with excluding all the special summons and like all the other stuff.
Mhm.
Archbrave Dragon.
Okay.
There was something just inherently cool about this thing, and I don't know, I just really want to shed some light on it because it has the effect of when it gets special summoned from the graveyard, it destroys all spell and trap. Let's see, it banishes all face-up spell and traps on your opponent's side of the field, and it gets stronger because of it. Kind of in a way to me symbolizing even if you stop me, I'm just gonna keep coming back stronger than ever. Plus the Dragon Ball fan in me acknowledges that. Not to mention
Okay.
at some point it could I can't talk. Not to mention at some point, if it gets sent to the graveyard again, it can bring back another dragon. So it's kind of in the sense of I can't keep going on, but I can use my power to help my friends. Kind of a sacrifice type thing, but also something that won't go down without a fight.
Okay. I was looking this card up because I didn't remember what it looked like. I vaguely remember the name, but now this card looks actually really awesome. It's I don't know how to describe it. It's got four wings, I just realized.
Yep.
So no, this is a really cool monster, and I can understand wanting it as a dual spirit. It would be kind of awesome, kind of following the dual spirit ideas of 5Ds, right? They had connections with their more powerful dragons and
Yeah.
stuff. No.
It's not a synchro dragon, and I'll get into those in my honorable mentions because it kind of felt like cheating. But at the same time, there's something kind of I feel like it would be very serious and yet at the same time wise. Not a hard ass or anything, but just not necessarily one for joking around or anything.
I can understand that. Yeah, it's very kind of cool looking. Just looking through everything. Yeah. And I do like the idea that yeah, you can help in your graveyard, except okay, so wow, yeah, I thought you said it was into your hand, but it's special summoned.
That is correct. Now, if it's the only dragon in your deck, then you kind of have a problem with that effect. But still, it finds a way of being useful whether it's around or not.
Yeah, it really seems like it. All right. My last one before honorable mentions.
Let's do it.
So you know this is pretty much my favorite dual monster, but it I don't think it would make the best dual spirit, but I still would want it as one, specifically for its abridged counterpart from a specific point, Jinzo.
Yeah, okay. I could go ahead.
Specifically, I want it as the when it was the member of the Big Five version, so the very southern guy.
I don't know. Oh no, I don't know about that.
Just listening to him talk like that, but it absolutely does not match. But yet, I think that would be hilarious as a dual spirit.
I figured you meant I thought you might have said GX abridged, but it was basically the same. It's exactly how you would figure Jinzo would be, except it also like to throw parties.
I don't know. That would kind of be cool as well, but uh Jinzo, as I said, it's like one of my favorites. I would always want to use it, and I always wanted a copy of the card, but I never had the money to buy the tin that it was in or the packs consistently to try to find one. So when I finally played it in Duel Links, I was so happy when they finally added it, and I used it probably for like that first month. I didn't change my deck when I was playing that.
Yeah, not to mention there is something very smart about it. Like it's able to sense traps, and like I said, in the very early days of Yu-Gi-Oh, that was huge. Nowadays, well, maybe not so much, but still.
Yeah, from my understanding, traps are not an issue anymore unless they're like hand traps or something like that.
Like I
But
said, I don't even know how to link summon, so
hey, at least you know how to synchro summon. I still don't know how to do that.
yeah. Yeah, but I also know how to pendulum summon, which means I can have my monsters swing into action. Yeah, they say that.
Okay, but yeah, no. as I said, this is one of my favorite monsters, and I've used it as an ace monster in Duel Links for a while, for some of my decks. It's not necessarily the strongest, but from its era, it was powerful in the fact that it you couldn't use traps anymore at that point.
Yeah.
And
But there are also a lot of upgraded versions of Jinzo, so
Mhm.
there's a basis there to keep growing stronger.
Exactly. And as I said, I always found this one really cool. I don't know why, because it should be really kind of just weird and a secondary monster for Joey to use, and yet it's been one of my favorites.
Yeah, well, he didn't have red eyes at the time, so I guess I just figured, like, I mean, what was going to help him? Insect Queen? What other insects do you have in your deck? That doesn't work.
Well, actually, did he return the card that Weevil stuck in his deck, or just like, well, it's in my deck now. I'm going to use it
I
to.
I remember in one of the next duels, he's like, "Oh man, I forgot to take out the parasite." So I'm like, I guess he still has it.
Yeah, so I guess he could use that maybe as a thing.
Maybe, but I honestly don't know anymore. But I can co-sign on to Jinzo. Not as much of a headache as he used to be, but there's still something cool about him.
Yeah. All right, you ready for honorable mentions?
Let's do it.
All right. So what's your first one?
Okay, this is kind of the cheating one I was talking about. Because like you, this is kind of three monsters. Technically two, but the lore behind Yu-Gi-Oh has told everybody, yeah, that it's just it's three monsters. Light End Dragon and Dark End Dragon.
Okay.
Both of these cards were apparently used by Chaz in the manga, and they're one of the few monsters that actually have attack names and effect names nowadays. Because like I honestly don't know why they stopped doing that as much. But one of the cool things to me is kind of just you would think these two would be enemies, but they actually work really well together. Sure, their effects kind of suck in the regard of they use their effects by lowering their own attack and defense points, but there's still something really cool about them, especially since I was kind of sad that nobody really used these cards in the anime or the game. So I'm like, you know what? These are my aces now. Not to mention that apparently it's not technically a fusion between them, but like I said, in the lore of Yu-Gi-Oh, oh, it's a fusion. It's called Light and Darkness Dragon,
Huh.
and it basically has the same effects, but it's just a lot stronger. I don't know. It kind of symbolizes to me in the sense of like light and dark can't exist without each other. Like it, light and dark can't exist without each other, and that's a trope that they seem to be showing a lot in anime and just life itself. So it kind of works for that
Okay. And you said Chaz used these?
in the manga.
Okay, because I was gonna say they're synchro monsters, aren't they?
No, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so they continued into synchro era, I guess.
Man, I don't even know. Like, although I know very little about the manga. Although, fun fact, apparently Chaz ends up beating Jaden in the manga. Couldn't get that in the anime, but I
Hey,
don't
we
know.
didn't even get the end of the anime itself, so I don't think we'd ever get that.
Yeah, the manga's interesting. I kind of want to give it more of a chance, but I don't know. It kind of just symbolizes to me that there's good and bad, and they kind of have to work together in some aspects. Plus, I'd like to think that Light and Dragon would be very similar in Bakugan to I think it's to like like the Angel Bakugan, who's super like peaceful and over the toply happy, and it's kind of creepy, while the Dark End Dragon would just be trying to fight everybody all the time.
Okay. Yeah, that they do look kind of interesting, and I didn't look up their final, the light, you said light dark dragon or something like
Light and
that.
Darkness Dragon.
Okay, but uh yeah, it seems like an interesting kind of pair. I could see them be like almost being like the angel and the devil on your shoulders kind of thing.
Yeah. Except, well,
Hmm.
not except they both are just towering over me. I'm like, oh, hey guys, what's up?
And but I could almost see like I don't know. As I said, with the angel and devil kind of aspects, but they both want you to do the exact same thing. It's just one saying, "Well, you're doing it for good," and the other's like, "Well, you're just doing it to destroy them."
I'm doing both actually, so it kind of works out.
All right. That would kind of be a cool gimmick for a dual spirit, I think.
Yeah, yeah, but like, out of all of them, I kind of feel like that was. I feel like we both just kind of came up with one for that. That's good. I like that. But light and darkness dragon, light end, and dark end dragon.
Okay. Yeah, as I said, I'm gonna co-sign onto that one because I actually really like the idea.
Yeah. Okay.
So for my honorable mentions, I've kind of picked monsters. These are the monsters that were either officially with someone and might be considered dual spirits for them, a bit more than my other ones. So the first one of these is the Red Eyes Black Dragon. I always like this one. For some reason, I like Red Eyes so much better than Blue Eyes White Dragon.
No, same.
I mean, one, it belonged to Joey, which we've kind of admitted is like our favorite character from the original series.
And
And
no wonder Kaiba hates us.
but the Red Eyes is surprisingly powerful. Its ultimate forms, the Red Eyes Black Skull Dragon, the Red Eyes Metal Dragon, aren't as powerful as the Blue Eyes ultimate forms, but they're still pretty strong, and they get a lot of, especially in that first season, they get a lot more visibility in that part of the season.
Yeah, definitely.
And I really love this card, and I would just love. I always wanted to not be able to understand it, so it just shrieks behind me that like raptor call it had from the original.
Yeah, and everyone else is terrified, but you're not even phased by it. It's just like, oh yeah, we'll go for a walk later, and we're all like, what the fuck? Okay.
Yeah, but and this was one that I wouldn't want to be like a it shrinks itself down. I want it like kind of like how you're talking about the light and darkness dragons.
Yeah.
It towers over me. It's just like okay.
Yeah, that's fine. I can understand that. And like with Jinzo, there are a lot of cards that go with that, so it could make a really good deck. Heck, Duel Links has made me really fall in love with the Red Eyes stuff again. Plus, it's just nice beating Blue Eyes players with the Red Eyes deck and just ruining Kaiba's life.
Yeah, and it was one of those um while that one character from GX used Red Eyes. Did he even win a duel in the series?
No, that's what upsets me. It was Night Shroud when he was brainwashed, but then it was Atticus when he was like just on his own. I don't think he ever won a duel on screen, which is kind of a big problem with GX. There were so many characters who barely won anything.
Yeah, and as I said, that really didn't show the Red Eyes in a good light because the Red Eyes, as we've been saying, I mean, there's fusion ritual summons. I'm sure there's synchro summons and possibly even Xyz summons probably for it.
I
So
honestly don't even know. Oh, but at the same time, though, remember there's that Red Eyes armor card.
yeah, and if you what is it? If you use fusion with something, and I think it's you can create like a Red Eyes weapon or something. Isn't that what Joey did
Yeah,
in the
yeah, that was her. That was Hermos, the Red Eyes Dark Dragon Sword. I don't know. I completely
yeah.
forget what it's called at this point.
So there's so many different ways of playing this card in there. So having it be the base monster would be really kind of a cool thing because it would mean that there's so many extra strong cards in your deck.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. Even if all the Red Eyes Black Dragon Sword, that's what it's called.
Okay.
It's a ridiculously powerful card.
Which is why I'm pretty sure it's banned from use unless.
Not no, so no, it is not banned from use.
Oh, okay. Then it's
At least not yet.
okay. I don't know. I'm not into Yu-Gi-Oh! Like really enough to know what's on the ban list besides like Monster Reborn and Pot of Greed.
Yeah, basically that. But can I get into my next honorable mention?
Go right ahead.
Silver Fang.
Silver Fang.
You know this card.
I will recognize it as soon as it's been so long since I've watched any of these series.
It's just it's a beautiful looking wolf.
Yes, okay, that's why did I completely forget this?
When I
Because it
was
was one of mean, God, I really am stupid.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm glad that you're admitting to it. But second of all, it's a beautiful looking wolf. It's basically a giant dog. I really don't need any more than that.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something about it that I feel like, in a sense, it's kind of dangerous, but in the sense of, I feel like I can tame this thing and kind of just be friends with it. But then it immediately turns into just a stereotypical dog.
Yeah, I could see it. Um, there's a character in what's it called? Rising of the Shield Hero that's like the leader of its pack, and it's like it would be so friendly to you, but if anyone else like for your enemies, it's like the most vicious thing possible.
Exactly. And apparently, in one of the video games, its attack, I thought its attack was it like pounces on the opponent or claws them or something. No, it pretty much breathes frost breath, and I'm like, oh, that's not at all what I expected. But hey, good for it.
I thought it was its howl, but it's been so long since I saw the original series.
It's been so long since I played the game, so I can't even specifically say if it was it was some type of, I don't know. It was some type of howling frost breath attack. I don't know, dude.
Okay. No, but I'll completely co-sign. I don't know why I completely forgot about this card. I mean, it's not the most powerful, but that kind of fits with a lot of the dual spirits that we see. They're not necessarily the most powerful card in a person's deck. They're there to be kind of their guide to the person.
Okay. Oh, here it is. It's a snow wolf. So maybe we're both right. Maybe it's just a long howl, and even if you survive the howl, you'll just get frozen to death.
Well, in the original Yu-Gi-Oh, that's quite possible because, well, people died, and it seemed like cards had random effects that they don't have in any other series.
Yeah, pretty much. But it's a wolf. Dogs are cool. Just etc. etc.
Yeah, I'll co-sign onto that. All right, my last honorable mention,
Go for it.
Summon Skull.
Yeah, that
This
makes sense.
the first deck that I ever created as a kid that did not use any of the like the ace monsters from the original starter decks. Summon Skull was my ace in that deck. I
Same here.
So I kind of had to put this here. I love this card as a kid. I always thought, oh, this has got to be one of Yugi's ace monsters. It
Well, it
kind
was.
of, yeah, it was for one season. Then it disappeared and we never saw it again until we got like its alternate versions where it's Archfiend, Summon Skull, or whatever in later series.
Yeah, and then they update so it's like, oh, well, even if you have the regular Summon Skull, it still technically counts as an Archfiend card, which Archfiend cards are awesome, so I'm okay with that.
I am too, but I always like the original because it was pretty much like the most powerful single sacrifice card that you could have at the start of the series.
Which makes sense because Yugi abandoned it for Dark Magician, which is harder to summon without spell or monster effects. Yugi, I swear to God.
Yeah, but I could see this being a really kind of a similar vein to the Red Eyes and the others. It just towers over you. You're perfectly fine with it, but anyone else who could see Duel Spirits is like terrified because it's just this giant demon skeleton behind you most of the time.
I don't know why, but there's something about it that's threatening, but there's also something about it that's, I don't know, I feel like I sense a little bit of sass from someone's skull. Oh, like if
Mm.
you're cooking something, I'll be like, can you make this thing go faster? It'll just zap it with lightning. It's just like, thanks. It doesn't actually cook it, it kind of just disintegrates it, but it's just something like that.
Exactly. It's one of those that I could see it talking in a booming voice, but having the personality of like uh just like the kindest thing in the world. It's just got this dark menacing appearance and it's the nicest thing in the world.
It's just like, I don't know why everybody's so scared of me. I'm like, because you're a, you know what? It's okay. It's okay. It's fine. We love you, Summon Skull.
Exactly. And with its lightning powers, it was, as I said, it was one of the most awesome cards I remember from the original series. I always, as I said, I had like 4 different versions of this card at one point because I got it in the original starter deck Yugi. I got it in one of the specialty tins, and then I got it in like 2 different packs that I opened. So was like the luckiest card I got was that.
Yeah, oddly enough, the same thing happened to me with Blue Eyes. And people were like, "Hey, man, are you gonna trade?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure. What you got?" And they always had something I wanted, so it worked out.
No one had that many cards when I was a kid, unfortunately. The only one kid I knew really liked Yu-Gi-Oh, which really sucked because I didn't get to play it much when I was a kid then.
No, me neither. Her, but then again, I also have a Japanese Dark Magician girl, which no one seems to want.
Really? I don't
Yeah,
think that isn't that the one that got censored here in the US then?
yep. So maybe I'll get some flyers out and I can be rich.
It's possible.
Yeah, but anyways, my last honorable mention,
Go right ahead.
Arcanite Magician.
Okay.
There's something about Arcanite Magician's a synchro spellcaster, and on the first glance, it sounds like it could be a little bit of a hassle. But it involves a lot of like spell counters, so in a way it kind of symbolizes to me, oh, train, keep training, and you can build up your power, that sort of thing. And it's just I've always thought it was just a really cool looking card. Sure, the spell counters thing can be kind of a hassle, but I don't know. There's something like powerful and wise about it, and I feel like okay, I don't know this thing's gender, so maybe I'm wrong about it. I feel like she would be very much in the wise territory, but at the same time, kind of just done with people. Like, I have to carry the load for you guys because I'm the smart one and I'm kind of sick of it. But I'm like, we appreciate you.
Okay. I don't know this card pretty much at all, but I'm assuming it's going to be an interesting one to look at when I see it. I'm assuming you're going to put some of these in the video, so I'm hoping you put this one in.
I wasn't going to, but I guess I can now.
Yeah, just make it easier for those who don't know what cards we're actually talking about, probably.
Yeah. Fine. I can find a workaround for that. But they also have a lot of upgrades. Like they have fusion. Like there's an assault mode version. There's a fusion version. It's just a card that even if it seems weak, it just keeps finding ways of getting stronger. And I think that's cool.
Okay. As I said, I don't know this card, so I will have to co-sign to it.
Yeah, but that's basically that's my last honorable mention.
All right. All right. You gonna do your last one, or do you want me to do my last one?
Let's. Why don't you do your last one?
Okay, so this is as I said, we saved which one we think would be our true dual spirits or dual spirit for last, and we're probably going to go into a bit more detail on these. So this is the reason we didn't have a video this week was because I made the mistake of thinking that we were only doing one and going into more detail.
To
So
be fair, we're not that great at communicating anymore.
exactly. So this is the one that I had originally picked for that. And this is the uh another one that's kind of like Chaz. It's 3 separate ones. And let me explain some of the details that I had for it. It's X, Y, and Z that combine into the Dragon Catapult cannon. I had it so that they are about the size of those old Zord, like Power Rangers Zord toys, and so
I know what
they're
you're
about
talking about. I still have those around somewhere.
yeah, they're about 6 inches tall, and they can combine into each other. Um, I had the X head cannon as my main dual spirit, kind of like Ojama Yellow was Chaz's main one. Um, the Y dragon Y dragon head was less serious and but is also kind of stubborn and just wants to replace X head cannon as my main spirit all the time.
Oh gosh.
And then Z Metal Tank was like R2D2, and I couldn't understand a word it said. It just kept beeping. It but it got angry because I could never understand it, and I had to rely on the other two to tell me what it sounded like.
Please translate. It said hello. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it just there are times where it appears without the others, and it just starts beeping angrily at me when I don't understand that it's trying to tell me that the others have been taken hostage or something. But I was just these were always one of my favorites, and I have created um a deck via one of those deck builders that used that pretty much set up so that I could summon XYZ Dragon Catapult Cannon, the VW version, and the ABC. So I had all of them in there, which gave me a, a ton of these pretty powerful monsters. And uh, with all their extra stuff, I really like this deck. I always wish I had all the cards for it so I could start special summoning all these different. What is it? Are these considered contact fusion or just I forgot what the term they used for
I
them.
mean, they don't technically call it contact fusion, and it honestly does. I'm not even sure they technically count it as fusion. But they were some of the first cards to just say, okay, once you have them all on the field, just summon the card you want, basically. I don't know the specific term for it though, but I do know Y and Z are known as union monsters because they can connect to other monsters.
Okay. But yeah, I always really liked these cards, and I was hoping that they would be my thing. And as I said, they'd show up as like the toys almost in size in uh when they're in dual spirit form.
Yeah, I figure that.
But yeah, I kind of gave X-Head Cannon a personality of it was very serious. Y was uh a lot less serious, and as I said, wanted to be the main dual spirit for me, but never could replace X-Head Cannon.
I really hope that you treat Y Head Cannon with respect. Y
I do
Dragon Head with respect.
I do. It's X-Head Cannon that like beats it up every time it tries to replace it.
They honestly kind of remind me of the Ninja Turtles, especially the 2003 kind, because you have the leader, you have the one who's not necessarily on board for it, and then you have the one that kind of just gets ignored. And then
Exactly.
there's probably a fourth one around somewhere.
Well, the rest could show up eventually, but those three are my main, or would be the kind of main trio and with me when I need them.
Yeah, I can understand that.
All right, your last one.
Okay, this is gonna be one of the most random cards. It's not a card people use that much. In all honesty, it's not even that crazy powerful of a card, really. But I don't know. There's something about this card that kind of makes me sad in some cases.
Okay.
I brought it up like on that Yu-Gi-Oh video we did that we're never gonna touch on again when we talked about Dream Game, and I'm not even gonna put it up in the corner or anything. It was that bad. But I talked about this card a little bit. Fairy Guardian.
Okay.
I don't know. I kind of always have liked the Guardian archetype that Raphael. Look, I know we've talked about Raphael a lot in season 4 and how it wasn't perfect, but at the same time, I liked a lot of the cards he used. And a lot of the cards he used were cards that were basically this card can bring out the equip spell based on it. Like one of them was based on a dagger, one of them was based on a sword, a bow and arrow, etc., etc. Fairy Guardian, it always made me kind of sad because I'm like, I kind of like the look of this card, but it didn't have that. It didn't have an equip spell based on it or anything. And then there are some rulings that say it's a guardian monster, so you can use it together. And then there are some rulings that say, oh, it's not really a guardian monster, so you can't use it together. But I don't know. It still has a pretty nifty effect that you can return a spell card that your opponent got rid of and return it to your deck. Sure, it's the bottom of your deck, but that's still something, especially with how often people use cards that say, oh, I get to special summon this, and then shuffle it. So it finds a way of getting faster about it. I don't know. There was just something about this card that I always really liked using, especially in games, which is weird because with how many people tell me, oh, it's not that good of a card. I'm like, yeah, but I win a lot with it. So it's one of those things where it kind of feels like I kind of feel like this card was perfect for me. And I know that sounds cheesy, but at the same but it works.
Yeah, I vaguely remember actually having this card back when the uh games were coming out still, and you would I never used it. Again, when I was playing it was I always liked the bigger beater monsters, but now that I'm older and understand how the game works and understand that beater monsters don't win you duels as much as they used to, it's very interesting to see cards that, while showing up as weaker, can get you something that may win you the duel. In this case, you could get a magic card that you had either already used. Well, is it your card or your spell card said to you?
Your card that like an opponent got rid of, and especially considering how often people are negating spell cards and everything, I'm like, huh, I'll just send her to the graveyard and it's pretty obvious that this thing is a girl.
Yeah, I can understand that. And um, again, it's another one that's, as I said, kind of similar to the Karibo style of it sacrifices itself to give you something that you need to win the duel. So I can understand that.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, it's shown up a couple of times in the anime, like when Dark Magician Girl is like talking to Yugi, who's tripping out or something. It's like, oh, all these monsters need your help or something, and you just see a bunch of monsters in the background. I'm like, oh, Fairy Guardian. Oh, I know that card. And then it showed up again in GX. I'm like, all right, this thing keeps popping up. What's happening? And I'm the only person who's noticing. But as for personality, I feel like it would be. As much as I don't really love saying it, I feel like it's kind of childlike at times.
I can understand that. That's kind of fits that fairy that kind of aesthetic that it has.
Yeah, you haven't seen a lot of Gintama, but she kind of reminds me of the main girl Kagura, just the sense of she just looks like a regular girl, but she turns out to be just as gross and violent as most of the guys are in the show. So I feel like it might have that, except it's not like burping every 5 minutes or something like that. Just something like it could have a little bit of a temper at times.
I could see that. I I would hope that you would be able to, or in our version, we'll make it a guardian card so you can use it in combination with the other
Yeah.
guardian cards and make it if you want, because that way it gives it even a bit more of a kind of a step up, and because you can make it more powerful that way.
Yeah. In a sense, it would also be like if the other spirit saw it's like, wait, you're part of this group now, even though you're not really a guardian card. She's like, yeah, that's right. And they're like, hey, welcome aboard, or it must be a lot of fun. And she's basically like, she's very loyal to her friends, despite the fact that she can be a bit of a brat.
I can understand that. I think it's a definitely a unique card, and one that I could actually see possibly having with you.
Yeah. And it would either be the size of like one of those little pixies, like from the Zelda games, or about its usual height in the show, which was like a couple feet tall. So people are like, "Oh, your daughter is really cool." She's like, "She's not my daughter. She's not my daughter." She's like, "I want McDonald's." No,
It just keeps asking for McDonald's.
specifically McDonald's. Like, but we're at this Brazilian steakhouse. You should really try it. McDonald's, but we're at Arby's. McDonald's. We're at this place. We're at this Asian fusion place. It's called Poor Calvin's. It's really good. McDonald's. Afterwards.
Sad part is I've had friends who either eat like that or have siblings who eat like that, which is it's not fun.
Yeah. At the same time, I hope some of the restaurants that we're talking about decide to sponsor us because that would be great. But at the same time, like I don't know, it's a card that kind of has a lonely feel to it. And so I've always thought, Fairy Guardian, you know what? Everybody else kind of sees you as nothing, but you've always helped me, and I always notice you're coming with me.
I can understand that, and I think it would make an interesting dual spirit. So
Yeah. We've gotten a lot more of it out of this video than when you first told me, hey, let's do a video about dual spirits. I'm like, all right, I can try for something.
yeah, see, it wasn't that bad of an idea.
Yeah, well, even a broken clock, even the sun shines on a dog's ass every now and then. I don't know what the expression is.
All right, but I think that's everything for today.
Yeah, so are we ready to close out?
Yep.
Alright, so ladies, gentlemen, and others, hope you enjoyed this somewhat different take on our usual videos. Whose spirits did you like more than the others? Mine or Richard's? Or do you think your dual spirits are better? What personalities would you give them? Voice, anything, basically anything.
Exactly, and yeah, tell us what spirit you would want most if you had your own dual spirit for pretty much any time you dueled in Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to be one of the monsters that everybody uses. You could use a card that's just like, I like this card. But powerful or not, I just enjoy this card. Because that's basically what I went with. But I understand if other people have different theories, and that's completely okay.
I completely agree. That's kind of the same mindset I had going in.
Yeah, but anyways, let us know what your spirits would be, what their personalities, backstory, just anything. Because people seem to love our Yu-Gi-Oh content. Those are the videos that seemingly get a lot of views. So hopefully we can do more of this.
Yep, we'll try to come up with more ideas for it.
Yeah, and since I finally finished Yu-Gi-Oh GX Season 4, maybe I can talk about that another day. Because I got some stuff to say about it.
Okay. I haven't even finished Season 3, so I don't know.
Yeah, basically. But be sure to like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell, buy the merch, leave us a review, and we will see you guys next time. This has been Alex.
And Richard.
And you have been listening to the Anime Egotists. Good night, and peace easy.